Or at the Blog Business Summit with Steve Brobeck and that crew, and then Grapes on a Plane over at
Walla Walla.
You maybe went to Walla Walla. We were at Christoph's.
I forget where. So that was
Red Mountain, Walla Walla.
That was a lot of wine ago, But yeah, we was at the Boeing plane trip where we went. We went to Walla Walla, and I forget the wineries we visited, but yeah, that was great.
It was to hook up with the winemakers with bloggers. That was before Vaynerchuk was doing his.
Yeah, it was awesome, and a good chance to test the Boeing Wi-Fi plane, which then got killed, but now Wi-Fi is back on plane.
Yeah, cool. So you got Buildy 43 cooking, a bunch of interesting stories and stuff. What's new?
I'm going around the world and studying how the bleeding edge business and innovators are doing stuff for the internet or using the bleeding edge web to build business. So we just were in Boulder and went to a sushi restaurant, and they showed us how they were using Twitter to build their business. And other places we've been to the set of Criminal Minds, studying how they're using HD cameras and all sorts of wild stuff that.
So Building 43, you're doing your show and you have a bunch of content around the cutting edge.
Yeah.
So I have a question then. We're sending some videos back to the International Advertising Association Secretariat in New York. Right. And I think it's fascinating right now with this whole attention span shifting and with the whole media world turning upside down again. What do you see as the future for marketing, advertising?
Which one? Because that could go in 15 different directions. Marketing is... look at marketing today, right? How do you build a brand? One, you have to have an audience, but you can now use Twitter or Facebook to talk to that audience and listen to them.
Yeah, it's like this feedback loop versus just a one-way communication space. So, and we're starting to see that. I mean, you're a proponent of friend feed and creating conversations and things like that.
Or Twitter. Yeah. I mean, you see Ford and H&R Block and Comcast. Comcast Cares is here at this conference. They're all using Twitter and Rackspace, right? I work for Rackspace. We use Twitter to listen to customers, to help them out, and make sure that people stay fanatical about our companies.
Yeah. So what's some bleeding edge tech that's really got you jazzed up? Because, you have your finger on the pulse.
Well, I'm still studying this thing I call the 2010 web. Some people are calling it Web 3, but I don't like the name Web 3. What is the modern web, right? And there's some attributes of it. One, social networks are continuing to be hot. Twitter is continuing to grow really rapidly. Facebook is growing the size of a Twitter every 6 weeks. They're growing millions of people. Yelp, for instance, is growing 1 million unique visitors a month right now. So social networks are hot and are going to be hot for a while. You have real-time. That's why I got into friend feed, because you could have real-time chats. But there's a lot of things that are going to be happening in the real-time. Twitter is real-time, where you can search now for any name and see what, like the Iran elections we were just talking about. You can see what everybody's writing about the Iran elections, or an earthquake, or your brand, right? You can see what everybody says about General Motors or Chevy or whatever. And I think the real time is just at its beginning. We're going to see a lot more. Google now is reducing the time to index things from a couple of days to now my friend feed items are getting into Google within a couple minutes.
It's plugged right into the APIs then? Or?
Well, no, their spiders are coming more frequently, and they're figuring out how to index things more in real time. So if there's a news event, now you go to Google and you say, news event, all of a sudden you get what's happening right now. At least that's close to being here. So social networking, real-time video is getting more ubiquitous. Cisco just bought the flip cams, and those do 720 HD. Kodak just came out with a camera that does 1080i.
What's your thought on HTML5 and them getting finally coming into like one universal codec? So because it seems like that's what's fragmenting the whole.
I like that idea, but that's 2011 web. There's pieces that'll come out in the 2010 web. So that's one thing I'm watching, but I'm not Unfortunately, because browsers are so slow to get adopted, there's still millions of people who use IE6, right? And if we could get everybody off of IE6 to IE8 or Firefox or Chrome or Safari, the whole world would be better off. But that's not the bleeding edge. I study the bleeding edge, and that's the trailing edge of the web. So I can't.
You've been playing with the red cameras and the 4K 3D stereo Starcave stuff, right?
We have Panasonic cameras, and we can't afford the red. We bought expensive gear, but not cinematography.
Talk about mobile.
Mobile is one of the attributes I wrote about on the 2010 web. Huge shifts. I mean, Yelp is coming out with an iPhone app where you just, it knows you're in Seattle or you're in San Francisco, wherever, and it shows you all the restaurants or all the businesses around you, and it shows you real-time offers. Oh, really? So a restaurant can say, hey, if you come in right now, happy hour, or I got $2 beer, or I got, half off of pizza, whatever the offer is, and you can see those offers on your iPhone, so you can just pick.
It's like real-time competition now versus it's like everything's getting intelligent.
Very, and more and more and more so, But this is the world the businesses now need to play in. If you don't understand what Yelp is, you're losing business. There's 1 million new people a month. There's 25 million people already on it. If you don't understand Facebook, there's 300 million people there. If you don't understand Twitter, there's 40 million people there. Friend feed is, for the geeks, right? Less than 1 million people. And friend feed just got bought by Facebook, so that goes away. And now more of their technology, the more of the real-time stuff will be showing up on Facebook.
So we said mobile, video, real-time web.
Social networks, copy and paste programming. So if you have a website or a blog, you can go to code.google.com or a bunch of different places and copy the JavaScript and paste it in your blog, or even like a YouTube video. How do you get a little YouTube video?
It's like
you go, you go and copy the embed code and paste it into your blog. That's copy and paste programming. I call it that. And so that's another trend that's hot right now, and that lets you build a website that looks more modern and has more features than 1994. The whole trick,
a widgetized web application program.
Well, my whole trick is I'm trying to get people out of 1994 and into 2010, into the modern world. So that's part of the modern world. But those are enough things to get people to chew on. I mean, mobile alone is a huge topic that, building an iPhone app, you can spend a whole weekend talking about how to build an iPhone app and still not know everything, right? We've been to iPhone dev camps, and you spend, 36 hours just thinking about iPhone, and you still don't know everything about the iPhone and how to build a great app for it.
Nice. So. Do you have any questions over there? No. Space elevator? What about nanotechnology?
Well, that's really interesting. I mean, we moved an atom, iron atom across a piece of copper at IBM's research center. But I'm really focusing.
It's like doing wireless power now too.
Well, that's coming too. Yeah, Dell has a new laptop coming out with wireless. I'm not supposed to say that, but
hey, Michael,
better erase that. But there's devices coming out with wireless power. There's lots of stuff that's cooking that's interesting. But for Building 43 in my life, I'm focusing more on the web. How is the web? How is mobile? How are these new trends changing our business, our society, and how do you build stuff for them?
And how's family life and all that? Somebody in the toaster?
Oh yeah, somebody in the
another buddy in the toaster.
Number 3 is coming.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I have
How's your wife doing?
She's doing good. Yeah,
that's cool.
A month away, so we have another kid coming. Life is.
Are you drinking vino a little bit here and there?
I try.
There you go. All right, man.
I need to drink less, so thanks.
Hey, Robert Scoble, thanks for your time. And what's next for you? Where you're taking off to?
We're going to Indianapolis to shoot motorcycle racing next week. That's fun. And then San Antonio to go to a Rackspace event, and then I forget where else. We're going to be at TechCrunch 50 in September, right? We're going.
I heard Rackspace is actually one of the top shops. I think Andrew's hosting Gear Live over there and stuff.
Well, we're the largest hosting company in the world. We hosted YouTube before they got sold to Google.
I thought UUNet was the largest hosting company in the world.
No, not anymore. And we're number 2 in cloud, but moving up fast. So Amazon's right across the street here. They better watch out for us.
All right, cool.